Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Guerilla Sports Daily. I'm your host for today, Ruben Villalobos. How's everybody doing today? What a wonderful December morning. I can't believe it's already December. This is crazy. It was literally just Halloween like yesterday. What happened? I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like this time speed moving thing. But anyways, we're here. It's a great day, and there's a lot happening today. There's quite a lot of games on tonight, from NBA all the way to Liga MX. Yeah, we're talking a little bit of soccer today as well. Avalanche are in action, as well as Thursday night football. We got Green Bay Packers and the Lions squaring off tonight. That's going to be an awesome game, so we're going to go all into it. And of course, you know me, I love Formula One, so we're going to talk a little bit of Formula One as well. But we're actually trying something new today. We have Jesse in the studio, and he's going to be talking to us about tonight's game. The Avalanche are visiting. Who are they visiting? they're visiting the Carolina Hurricanes, and this should be a good game. The Avs are coming off a crazy comeback win, but don't let me tell you all about it. We got Jesse in the studio. What's going on, Jesse?
Ruben, it's an honor to be in the studio here with you. Usually I'm sending you these from far away, and I feel so distant. Great to be here with you. Got what should be a really fun Avs game for you guys coming up here tonight. Myself and Megan Angley will be here in the studio breaking everything down during intermissions, post-game, all of that good stuff. But Avs Hurricanes, this was a really fun game when these two teams met earlier this season. The Avs were able to pull a win out of that one. Carolina is one of the top teams in the league, and the Avs are coming off an emotional, big-time comeback just a couple nights ago in Buffalo on the first game of their 5-game road trip, and it carries on here tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ross Colton did take morning skate today in a regular jersey. He has, quote, shed the red, as our good friend Megan Angley likes to say. So he's out of the non-contact jersey, and he's skating, taking regular reps with the team. So we'll see if he can go tonight. Typically, that means he'll take a couple practices, things like that. I'd maybe expect him back in the next game, not necessarily tonight. But one significant lineup change coming, Ruben, is Scott Wedgwood will get the start in net in favor of Alexander Georgiev. Of course, Scott Wedgwood helped lead the charge on the 4-0 comeback a couple nights ago in Buffalo. Alexander Georgiev gives up 4 goals in the first period. Scott Wedgwood comes in relief and plays outstanding. Doesn't give up a goal the rest of the way. Avs are able to climb back in and win the game 5-4. So he will get his first start as an Av tonight. Otherwise, pretty much expecting the lineup to stay the same. Really, the only question is, Ruben, how much can they carry that momentum from the last game forward into tonight and see if they can help build against what will be a much better opponent. They can't fall behind 4-0 tonight against Carolina. That's just not going to work. So should be a fun one. 5 o'clock start here in Denver. Like I said, Megan Angley and I will be with you guys all game long, both intermissions and post game. But Ruben, I'm looking forward to it, and so should you. Back to you.
That's crazy. He's like literally right over here. It's man, that was cool. That was actually a really cool little segment, and I'm actually glad we were this like a few weeks ago, and we just couldn't find the right person to like come and do it, and we just couldn't figure out the camera setup. But I think hey, if you like this, maybe we can do it again. But hey, great stuff from Jesse as always. But moving on, sticking to local sports, but moving on to the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are visiting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Nuggets looking to extend their win streak. Yes, they only won 1 game, but hey, you know, this is a great test for the Nuggets to see where they stand, you know, at top of echelon teams. Like, where do they rank, right? Like, are they going to be competitive against right now? The Cavs are the best team in the NBA and the best team in the East. Who would have thought? 15 straight wins to start the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Nuggets have a really tough task tonight. But listen, the Nuggets are coming off a big home win against the Golden State Warriors. They were down at one point in the fourth quarter. They come back late in the fourth and only allow no points in the last 2.5 minutes of that game versus the Warriors. And so let's see if the Nuggets can kind of replicate that defensive effort for longer than 2.5 minutes, right? Mostly in the fourth quarter is kind of when you want to really hone in on defense. And against this team, it's going to be a little difficult. For speaking for the Cavs have lost 3 out of the last 5 versus the Nuggets, but that was a bit of a different team. They had a different head coach. The new hire of Kenny Atkinson has worked out well for the Cavs. It's this is the first coach in a first tenure with a new team to win 15 straight. So it seems like the Cavs have really responded well to their new head coach, and they're playing very well. And the Cavs starting 5 features Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, these 2 guys are fantastic, and and the Cavs are not. That's just not the only 2 players that are prominent on that team. Their whole starting 5 is actually really, really good, and they're so well balanced. Like I said, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, who's another really lanky power forward, can block shots right pretty high up. You have to really float those over Evan Mobley. And Jared Allen, a great defensive center, great rebounder, and great offensive rebounder. I mean. And we all know the Nuggets have been struggling with just getting those rebounds, and it's been kind of infuriating to see second chance points from teams just stacking it on the Nuggets. That's been a big issue for the Nuggets, but also defensively speaking for the Nuggets, they've had a lot of trouble with really fast guards. It's been kind of their problem pretty much, since for a while now. And Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, 2 very quick, dynamic point guards who love to drive to the basket and just kick it out or just do some dynamic dunk, or they're just great finishers all around the rim. The Nuggets they're going to have to play excellent defense, and it's going to be one of those games where you're going to have to rely a lot on Jamal Murray and Christian Brown to really contain those 2, because like I said before, these 2, they're a great dynamic backcourt, and quite frankly, they're kind of underrated, and they've been a little bit under the radar because they play in Cleveland, and people just kind of are not paying attention to them. I'm super genuinely surprised by this for their start, not necessarily for their play, because they've been kind of building this. The Cavs have been building this team for quite a while now. And even though they decided to switch a new head coach, the pieces were already there. Their starting 5 were already there from last season. So there wasn't a whole lot of turnover for the Cavs team coming into the season. And now you're starting to see the results of that, much like the Nuggets, where they just continue to build and stay with the same team and see if it works. The Cavs, they seem to be they seem to be benefiting from that continuity, and it's showing early in the season. And even though they started out kind of hot, all those wins, it wasn't like they were fluky wins. They've been blowing teams out, and they've been excellent defensively as well. Now, they don't rank super high up. They're not a incredibly dynamic defensive team, but they're very smart. They don't turn the ball over, and again, they love to rebound and hit the offensive rebounds as well. So Nuggets have a lot of work to do, but if the Nuggets want to be successful, it's going to have to start with Jamal Murray. I mean, listen, I haven't really talked about Jamal Murray quite often because I've just been kind of defending him here and there. But Jamal Murray, what is going on with Jamal Murray? Listen, the last 5 games, 14 points, 20 points, 22 points, 18 points, 12 points. He's averaging 17, almost 18 points. I mean, that's less than what he was averaging last season. And we're almost to a point where, I hate to rag on players or say oh, you're not playing well, you have to live up to your contract and stuff like that. But Jamal Murray is one of those players he's shown us so much that we've kind of grown accustomed to expecting greatness. But now, because we saw it in such a short stint, we kind of want it at a consistent basis now, right? And it just hasn't happened with Jamal Murray. And it's weird. Since he's come back from injury, he just hasn't looked the same. We have to be honest now. He's just not the same player anymore. And I don't think he's going to be the same player that he used to be. A lot of that is probably because of the injury that he came back from. Maybe he's still not as comfortable as you think he is. And when you see him play, the eye test, it just doesn't look the same anymore. He doesn't look comfortable. he doesn't force the action on a dribble. Like, he's not creating separation off the dribble. There's no burst to his like drive game. There's no more acrobatic layups. I don't know if you remember, like during the bubble years, or during the bubble year, or even before the bubble year, Jamal was, he seemed to have like this explosiveness to him, and he had like these acrobatic layups that you were like, oh my goodness, where is this coming from? We don't see that from Jamal Murray anymore. Like, there's just like, he'll dunk on breakaways, and he'll still get up to the rim, but you don't see that like consistent attack from him anymore, and it's a little concerning. And I think he's had to adapt his game to kind of fit his mentality, basically, because to me he's almost turned into like a jump shooter. He tends to stop at a dime very well, shake somebody off and take that mid-range shot, but you don't see him forcing the action, going to the bucket, and actually forcing players to have to meet him at the rim. You don't see that from Jamal Murray anymore. And maybe we're just we just grew so accustomed to seeing Jamal Murray doing all these dynamic things and being so dynamic in the playoffs. Maybe he does come back and be playoff Murray again, but right now, we have to stop pretending that Jamal Murray is going to be the Jamal Murray of old, and we basically have to accept him for who he is now. And hopefully in the playoffs he comes back and is that playoff Murray that we all seem to fall in love during that championship run for the Nuggets. But right now, Murray has defined his game and has limited his playing style. And let's be honest, the Nuggets are kind of they're just not the same because of it. But anyways, hopefully the Nuggets get a win tonight. Like I said, this is going to be a great, it's almost going to be like, where do the Nuggets stand with the upper echelon teams? This is one of them, and the Cavs have given the Nuggets trouble despite the recent success the Nuggets have had against the Cavs. But this is a great team, and like I said before, the Nuggets have been struggling a little bit here and there, especially with teams that have two bigs. We'll see how they handle this one, because it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a 5 o'clock game Eastern time, 5 o'clock here. So it's going to be a bit of an early game for them. But hey, let's go Nuggets. Hopefully they get a good win, and we'll see what happens tonight. And hopefully Jamal Murray gets himself going a little bit more, because we just been waiting on him for quite a while now. It just hasn't happened. So let's go Nuggets, and let's get a good win. So all right, let's move on to a little bit of Thursday night football. Oh, my favorite. I love the NFC North. That division is crazy cool. This is literally the best division in football right now. 3 teams have over, I think, 7 wins or 8 wins or something like that. Packers right now 7-5, Lions 10-2. The Packers are going to Detroit. The Lions have beaten Green Bay earlier in the season in Green Bay. That was a huge win for the Lions. And the Lions right now, obviously, they're leading the NFC North. They basically have one of the best offenses in the league. They're averaging about just shy under 32 points. That's very good. And also their defense has been phenomenal, only allowing just shy of 17 points per game. Jared Goff has been very efficient, just under 3,000 passing yards. That's 8th best in the league. That's pretty good. And he hasn't had to do too much, because they have a very great running game. 22 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's pretty good. That's pretty decent. Completion percentage for Jared Goff, 72%, second best, next to just below Tua Tagovailoa. Second best passer rating behind Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is Jared Goff is a pretty good quarterback. He seems to have really found a great home, and with the Lions, they've seemed to really embrace him and his play. And who would have thought that Jared Goff was going to be this good? I mean, you did see kind of flashes of that when he was with the Rams, and obviously he took that team to the Super Bowl. They were, but he was kind of limited. It seems like they didn't really trust him to do like the big plays, the downfield plays, and now you see that quite often now from him. And it's great to see him kind of flourish and come into his own. And now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top 10 quarterback now. Good for Jared Goff. He's been fantastic, and it's good to see, because as a player, it kind of sucks to get traded, right? Like you get drafted and you get traded for someone who is considered better than you, and Matthew Stafford, yeah, he might be better and whatnot, but like, he's turned this franchise around along with like all the decisions that the Lions have done, top to bottom, getting a better head coach, and just sticking to the head coach and just sticking to the program. So the Lions have are fantastic this year. They're doing really good. And Detroit has also excelled in their rushing attack with Jahmyr Gibbs. He's nearing 1,000 yards for the season. But let's talk a little bit about the Packers. Right now, they're sitting third in the NFC North, but have improved over the recent weeks. I think they're on a 3-game winning streak. Jordan Love, still very good quarterback, has thrown just over 2,500 yards, 20 TDs. But again, he faces a very tough Lions defense, who again have only allowed just shy of 17 points. And but Green Bay's offense, they're no joke either. They score about 26.5 points per game. But the receivers for Green Bay, they kind of have to step up because I believe Romeo Doubs, I think he's on the injury report. So we'll see how Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, we'll see how those guys play. And hopefully Christian Watson, he had a very good season before. He had a good season last year. Hopefully he can replicate a little bit of that. He's been all right for the Green Bay Packers, but it's Jaden Reed who's actually taken hold of that number one wide receiver spot. He actually leads. Jaden Reed leads the team in reception yards, and hopefully they can help out their quarterback. They can help out Jordan Love in tonight's game again versus a very tough Lions defense. Some key storylines. Lions have been very good at home, and they're actually the favorite tonight. They're actually a 3.5-point favorite, obviously due to their home field advantage, and they've just been very consistent this year. And again, they beat the Packers earlier this season, and so when you get a home game, obviously they're going to be the favorite. But also, Packers have a little bit of momentum. Green Bay comes in, they're on a 3-game win streak. They had a very good win against Miami. So this is going to be a really good matchup. I think both teams really need it. Lions, obviously, they need this one to stay on top of the NFC of the NFC conference. And obviously, the Packers really need this one to stay in the playoff hunt. So, man, this is going to be a really, really fun matchup. I'm going to give you a little betting line, and I'm also going to give you a little prediction. So let's do a little betting line first. I'd say, put this in a parlay. I don't care. But you know what? I'm not a big gambler. So you know what? I just got these random things out of BetMGM, and I was like, you know what? Let's see if it works. I'm going to try it out tonight. And if you win, hey, send me a couple bucks my way. But anyways, all right. Jared Goff, anytime touchdown. Jordan Love, under 275 yards. Take that Lions money line and take the under on the total points, which is 51.5. And I'll say why you're taking the under, because I think it's going to be a 24-21 Lions win. That's right. You heard it here first. But anyways, I'm really excited for this game, and hopefully you are too. I'm definitely going to be watching this one because, again, whenever this is just like, this is a great rivalry game, but it's only great when both these teams are good. And so we finally have both of these teams playing very well. So it's going to be a great matchup. Cool. That was fun. All right. Well, let's go over to a little bit of Formula One. Yes. We're talking a little bit of racing. Boom, boom. Let's go. Last race of the season for Formula One out in Abu Dhabi. The event starts tomorrow. They start their practice and obviously qualifying, and the race is on Sunday. And, I think the last time I was here doing the show talking about Formula One, it was before the Thanksgiving break, and it was before the Las Vegas race, the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So a lot has happened since then. Max Verstappen obviously needed, to finish top 5 to win his championship, the drivers' championship. So he's already sealed that 2 weeks ago back in Las Vegas Grand Prix. Mercedes gets a 1-2 in Las Vegas. George Russell gets number 1, and Lewis Hamilton finishes second. But I don't know if you remember, I actually predicted that Carlos Sainz was going to get 3rd place in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. He actually finished 3rd. So I was actually close on my predictions for who was going to finish where in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But like I said before, Max Verstappen has sealed the Drivers' Championship since Las Vegas Grand Prix. And congratulations to him. And also he won the last race back in Qatar. So he was still winning. He was like, you know what? I know I've already won the championship, but you know what? I'm just going to get first. I'm just going to get another podium finish, number 1 in Qatar. And he's still dominating. It's crazy. This guy is ridiculously good. But We all know he's wrapped it up. He's the championship. He's in the championship. But let's bring up the constructors real quick, because that's going to be the storyline for Qatar is a constructors championship between McLaren and Ferrari. But also, if you bring up the driver standings, there is a battle between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris obviously drives for McLaren. He's been very good pretty much all year. But Charles Leclerc has made a late surge after Monaco, and now he finds himself 7 points behind Lando Norris to take that second place in the Drivers' Championship. I mean, if you ain't first, you're last, right? A little Ricky Bobby there. But hey, in Formula One, second place still gets you a lot of this and a lot of recognition. And also, it's great for the team, and it's obviously great for the drivers, to get that extra bonus. So, but also, this is going to be a very interesting race just because of that. And also, if you go back, if you pull up the constructors again, yes, McLaren can kind of technically lose that first spot, but a lot has to happen for Ferrari, and a lot of bad things have to happen for McLaren. Basically, if Ferrari wants to win, they have to get a 1-2 in Qatar, and also something absolutely drastic has to happen to McLaren, where one of the drivers finishes outside the top 10, and then the other driver just gets like a couple points. But I don't see that happening, so I feel like McLaren might just solidify their win in Qatar, in Abu Dhabi this coming race, and I think they're going to win it. But you know what? I've seen some crazy stuff in Formula One, so hey, maybe Ferrari just sneaks it in there, gets second place for Charles Leclerc, and also ends up finishing first in the constructors. But that's not the only thing that's happening in Formula One. Obviously the race between Ferrari and McLaren, that's going to be a great matchup to see. But Carlos Sainz, who is set to leave Ferrari next year for Williams, obviously he's going to be wanting to race pretty good for Ferrari in his last race. He's going to Williams next year, but he's not the only driver who's going to be leaving Formula One. Sergio Perez is rumored, and I talked about this last week. And strangely enough, in Qatar, he didn't finish the race. So again, I was saying this 2 weeks ago. Sergio Perez needs to score some points. He needs to finish at least top 6, top 5, and otherwise he's going to lose his seat, because he was already in the hot seat. He was already like kind of on his way out because of his bad performances since Monaco. He's just had a bad luck series of crashes, no finish in the top 10, or didn't even qualify to start in podium or nothing. Like he just has not had it for the second half of the season. And so now he's rumored to be on the way out from Red Bull. He's going to lose his seat most likely, but obviously he's still under contract for next season. So we'll see. There's rumors of Red Bull, Christian Horner, who is the director or the race director for Red Bull. He said after the Qatar Grand Prix, again, Sergio Perez didn't finish the race, but this is what he said, quote, "We will fully support him until the checkered flag drops in Abu Dhabi. Whatever he decides after that is ultimately his decision," Horner said in an interview with Sky Sports. He's old enough and wise enough to draw his own conclusions, but there's still one race to go. Now let's get Abu Dhabi out the way, and then we'll see where we stand. This is a weird story, because he was seen with Christian Horner and the engineering director for Red Bull. They seem to be having like a very serious discussion. And if the rumors are true, it sounds like Red Bull is basically asking Sergio Perez, "Hey man, you're gonna have to go. We love all the sponsorship money you're bringing in, but we need a different driver, and we need you to kind of step out on your own." And I think that's what's going to end up happening. Red Bull really needs to replace Sergio Perez. As much as I love my boy Sergio Perez, seems like he's on the way out, and he is losing his seat. But also, that's not the only driver who is going to be racing his last race. Not entirely, but last race for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion. As you heard, or if you haven't heard, he's actually going from Mercedes. He spent about since 2013, he's been in Mercedes, and he's going to Ferrari. Big move. Big move entirely for not only Ferrari, but for Lewis Hamilton as well, who, again, 7-time world champion, 6 titles were Mercedes, 4 consecutive titles, you know, from 2014 to 2020. He's had a phenomenal career. He's taken his talents to Ferrari. We'll see how that works out with Charles Leclerc, how that dynamic you know, relationship works, because these are 2 great drivers, and Ferrari, if they don't at least be in the constructors title next year, it's going to be a complete disappointment for that team. So hey, you know, congratulations on a historic run for Lewis Hamilton with Mercedes, but again, he's moving on to Ferrari, and good luck to him and his new ventures next season. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Formula One. But we're gonna start to talk a little bit about some soccer. Liga MX. That's right. Now, you know, MLS. We got MLS here in the U.S., but Liga MX is like it's a really great league. It's probably the better league out of the North American leagues, and a lot of prominent players play in Liga MX. And what? And there is some rivalry game happening tonight between Las Águilas and Cruz Azul. So this is a great rivalry game. These 2 teams are in Mexico City, both of them, right? So they're literally neighbors. These 2 fan bases hate each other. Like, anytime these 2 teams play, it is madness. And it's it's just Las Águilas. They're a more historic team. They have more championships and everything like that. So they're always very confident going up against Cruz Azul, and Cruz Azul hates going up against Club America because they've had their number. They won, I believe, Club America has won 7 out of the last 8 meetings versus Cruz Azul, including a playoff matchup last season. So Liga MX has their season is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of like the NBA season, where it starts like somewhere in like September, and then it goes into January, and then January into May, but you have a chance to win 2 titles basically. And so Club America is coming off of 2 consecutive titles, one of them against Cruz Azul. So Cruz Azul has an opportunity to get some revenge against Club America, but also Club America has some, you know, opportunity to make history as well, getting 3 straight titles. Now, granted, they had some trouble getting into the playoffs. They finished number 8th in the seeding. And in Liga MX, to get into the playoffs, you have to do it kind of like the NBA does, where they do a playing tournament to get into it. So they've been playing quite a bit of football, quite a bit of soccer to get to this point. They actually had a very solid win in the first round. So now moving on to the semifinals against this team, and it's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be incredibly easy because of the historicness of the amount of success that Club America has had against Cruz Azul, but Cruz Azul has actually been the best team in the league this year. They're finished number 1 in the standings. They only lost 1 game, basically, and I think it was only 1 home game that they lost. So they've been very, very good this season, and they actually had a great point differential, and their defense has been very solid this year as well. So this is going to be a super solid game. There's so much to watch tonight. I don't even know where to start, but if you're not watching Liga MX, this is a great opportunity to get into it, especially with a great rivalry matchup like this. I mean, who doesn't love a good rivalry matchup? I mean, think of this matchup kind of like those big rivalries like overseas, like Liverpool, Everton, Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United, Manchester City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter Milan. It's that type of rivalry. Like these 2 fan bases hate each other. They're from the same city. They sometimes play in the same stadium at times. Like it's going to be a great matchup. And again, it's a playoff. It's one of the first 2 matchups. So in the playoffs, you play each other twice, and then there is a global score. So if you lose the first one, you have a chance to go back and outscore in the second one, and then just you'll end up winning your matchup based on the global score. But well, that's it. That's going to do it for Guerilla Sports Daily. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all things social, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. And yeah, it was great. I have Jay, the Dutch master, back there. Let's see if he makes himself be known. Maybe not. Okay, well, anyways. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me today. My name is Ruben Villalobos. Have a wonderful... Oh, there he is. There he is. Love that guy. He's a Dutch master. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have an awesome day. See you, everybody.